Okay.
Rolling, yeah.
Colin, I was going to say discovered him, but I think he was already discovered before, but you brought him over here. Tell me what it was about him that made you think, right, he's going to be good for us.
Well, actually, that's not true, Angela.
Right.
What happened was, I'd been with the 1968 World Cup team. Australia won the cup that year, and Arthur was the star of the show. I walked into a board meeting. I was coach at Hull Kingston Rovers at the time, and the chairman, Will Spavin, as I walked into the selection meeting on a Tuesday night, said to me, "Do you know a fellow named Beatson?" So I said, "Yes, very well." He said, "Well, he's coming here." Well, I almost fell over. I couldn't believe it. And what they were saying was that Arthur was coming across to learn some more ball handling skills, which he could teach us a few. I don't know about that. But, that was a wonderful experience. And he came, and also came with a man named, a lad player named Jim Hall, who is now vice president of the Men of League in Australia. And Jimmy was with Canterbury Bankstown, and they formed a formidable front row player for us. But Arthur only played 12 games.
They've gone down in history though, haven't they?
So, well, if you ask anyone in Hull who's the best ball-playing forward you've ever seen, they'll always say Arthur Beatson. But it was tragic, actually. It was on Christmas morning, 1968. We were playing Hull in the local derby, morning kick-off, and about, 40 minutes into the game, Arthur went down in an innocuous-looking tackle, and he dislocated his ankle, torn the lead ligaments and broken both main bones in his leg. And so he finished up in hospital and going home on crutches, and was hobbling about for the next season in Australia. But then by 1970 he'd become a great Australian player again.
I've heard that story from Arthur's own lips, and I'm sure somebody actually said to him on the day, "Get up, you've not hurt yourself,
Me?
carry on." I think it was you.
Yeah, well, the story was that we had Frank Foster and Bill Holliday and Peter Flanagan, as well as Arthur and Jim Hall, and we weren't doing particularly well. So I said to Arthur, "Look, if we can beat Hull in the local derby, we'll be all right for a while." So I said, "Look after yourself on Christmas Eve," and that sort of thing. So the game started, and as it happened, the physio, Johnny Williams, was away, and so I was running the sponge as well. So after about 5 minutes, down he goes. So I won't use the language that I did use, but I said, "Arthur, for God's sake, all right mate, I'll come up." So this went on 2 or 3 times, and I ran on this particular time, and I said, "Not again, Arthur." He said, "Mate, I've broken my leg." And he actually stood up with his leg just hanging limply, and that was it.
Well, he was still having a go, wasn't he?
He was.
Is that a sign of the man in the sore pussy he is?
Oh, you can't describe Arthur Beatson. He's a wonderful, wonderful man, and we've been friends ever since. And we see him, this is about the 4th time this has happened, because he's a marvellous host of the touring parties.
It's larger than life in many ways.
Oh,
isn't it?
he's wonderful, yes, wonderful.
So you might not have been the one who actually signed him, but you had the pleasure of being the man who coached him.
Well, I got the shock of a life when he was... It was just something, he was at Balmain at the time, and they wanted him to come. So it was their initiative, really, not ours. And he picked... And I don't remember the biggest shock, because he'd come over, came up from London by train, and I had to break it to him on the station that he was playing that night.
All right. How did it go?
He went for 40 minutes, scored a try, and we beat Dewsbury very easily.
So that's the sign of things to come. Only for 12 games, though.
That's it, yes, unfortunately, yes.
And that's it. It comes over now, and it's great to see that the old guard, if you like, still being remembered with great fondness and also great respect.
Yeah, the thing is, as soon as I mentioned that he was here today at Rovers, all over with the TV people in the interview, and they're still at it in there, I think. So yes, it's wonderful. And as I say, he's revered, still revered in Hull.
Can I ask you a question about how much it costs to feed him? Because apparently he's a bit of a monster when it comes to that.
Well, he lived with us for a while, and my wife was in a state of absolute hysteria and shock after the first week. She used to say, "Colin," I said, "What?" She said, "I've just fed him the biggest breakfast I've ever cooked in my life, and he's wondering what's for dinner."